Fighting fire is dangerous. It's going to be dangerous. No matter what happens, no matter what we do in the world, from the moment that you step off of a piece of equipment and you put a tool in your hand or a hose in your hand or whatever, you step off that piece of equipment and you go to fight that beast, it's a dangerous job. People are gonna get hurt. I don't care what fire environment that you're in. You're dragging a hose lay into a burning building, or I'm taking a shovel and throwing some dirt on a piece of sagebrush. Our job is inherently dangerous, and it's going to always be dangerous. There are risks that are going to be taken. No matter how many thousands of checklists that are thrown at us, we still have a job to do. We still have to go out there and cut the brush and drag the hose and put the fire out. And it's still got to be done that way, regardless if you have 100 checklists or not. It's still going to be dangerous. Open your mind. I use that as a stressful situation, you know? Another stressful situation in my life was I was in the first Gulf War. And if you ever hear an air raid siren goes off, it makes your asshole slam shut. I'm going to let you know. And the first night the air raid siren went off, and oh my God, that's incoming to kill me. That's all I thought. And I looked through that tunnel like this, and all 20 of us in the same tent did. We saw the same tunnel, and all we could think about was that bunker right there. Well, in the process of us all trying to rush into the bunker, my best friend got trampled because everybody was trying to go out the same door. He got trampled, got his arm broken in about 14 different places, and crushed all of the fingers on his hands. And that point in my life, along with this Tarkio, I just said, whoa, life-changing situations for me. Those two situations, life-changing. Wow, you need to open your eyes when you get stressed. And I've made myself. When I start getting to, I know myself at that point. I just know. Because of my I attribute it to two situations, Tarkio and in the Gulf War. Hey, you need to calm down, dude. You need to open your eyes and not let this happen again. All of a sudden, we all felt the wind, and I distinctly remember all of us looked, hey, look, what's this wind coming up? And it was up canyon. It was coming right at us. It was like somebody turned a light switch on at that point, and that spot fire came active. I can still vividly remember sustained crown run fire just sheeting across the top of this mountain. Well, the column lifted all right, and we started looking around, and down drainage of us, we watched it basically start, and in a minute, 2 minutes max, that thing was 5 acres. and it was just spreading out through the pine litter actively as it spread out through the pine litter right behind the flaming front. The trees were torching up, and it was starting to, you know, get sustained group torching, and it was going. We had spots all around us. Hey, let's go. I remember division saying, let's go. I remember ops saying, let's go. We bug out. There's fire behind us now. It's moving. As we made that turn, I got a call from Robert Barrett. And he asked me, he said, Mike, where you at? I said, I'm below the alternate escape route road. I'm at that big first hairpin turn. And he said, well, you can't come to the upper safety zone because I just drove through fire to get here. He said, I advise that you use the alternate escape route. So we got to that intersection of the switchback roads and the alternate escape route, and we waited on our dozer again. As we're sitting at this intersection, if you will, we're facing south. The dozer operator standing by my door. I'm sitting in the passenger seat. John's driving, and I'm looking up the windshield in the direction. I'm looking at the map and seeing where this alternate escape route goes, and here's Division Delta. And there's a nuclear column coming off of Division Delta also. And there's a nuclear column behind us. So I said, you know, we both looked at John Hubbard and I looked at each other and said, ooh, wait a minute. Never been on this, don't know what it's like. Air attack couldn't see in there, too smoky. So I call operations. I said, do we have anybody that is on that alternate escape route that can tell me what it's like? Is it compromised? Because there's a big column coming off of Delta.
I told a friend that he was definitely cut off. And I said, hey, you remember, you know, you got the alternate escape route. Copy that. We had identified it ahead of time. You know where it's at? Yep, got it. And heading there. He's heading there. Minutes later, division gets word that might be compromised. Relays that to dozer boss friend. He's not happy. I'm not going down an escape route that might be compromised. That's 20 miles of windy, you know, dirt road. And I'm building a safety zone. I'm like, you got a spot? Yep. We got a spot we looked at on the way up. I'm like, go for it. And that was it. Kind of a sinking feeling, a couple of sinking feelings for me. Feeling pretty responsible for these guys. We got a bomber safety zone. This is a good one. Okay. I trusted the guy. He's pretty darn sharp, you know, and he did. He made a good, quick decision there. There was no hesitation. He'd already scoped out a place on his own and went right to it.
So our primary up the canyon where the spot fire was at's gone. Our secondary to the safety route, the safety zone that I had punched in the day, actually 2 days before, was done. And our alternate's done. Come on, Dick, step into it. Let's get to a spot that I'd found myself and John Hubbard had identified the day before. A parking area is what I really looked at it for, because I was thinking about the fire each day, jumping each our line, and so we're going to start stacking engines in here, one-way switchback roads. Let's make a little parking area if we need to. And there was a good spot just to park engines there without doing any work. When we determined that we couldn't take the alternate escape route, that we were pickled, if you will, we really weren't worried at that point. But John and I said, I looked at him and I said, hey, right there at the knife point, at the first switchback, so we'll take that dozer and I'll knock that line of trees out, push it off the side, and that's going to make a huge safety zone. And he looked at me and I could see his eye, yeah, that is a good spot. Let's go. The fire was coming up canyon at us, but it was still going up canyon, but it was burning up drainage. It would shoot up the drainage, crest over the little ridge line, back down. It'd get established in the drainage bottom, and it'd shoot back up. And that's kind of what it was doing. It'd just roll a little bit and then make a big run uphill. I can remember hearing it get established in that bottom of that drainage in the Namodi Creek. It just, everything changed. It just came to life. All of its energy focused right in the bottom of that drainage, and it came to life. Another huge column come up. It just went massive. John and I talked about burning. We talked about, hey, let's get some fire going on the ground here. We dismissed that really quick after we thought, no, we're not going to light. At that point, we were standing at the edge of the safety zone. We talked, our thoughts were, if we don't want to light any fire down here, get something really hot and ripping and draw that fire that's on top of us down. So we dismissed that. We don't, no, let's not mess with anything on that. Let's just see, we got a good safety zone. We reassured ourselves, we've got a good safety zone, it's going to be cool. We moved the pickup around to right where the front of the dozer, and where the pickup was parked before, we had all of our gear in the back of our truck, every bit of thing, everything I owned for fighting fire. That went away on single resource stuff was in my red bag, my tent, my cell phone, my camera, my towels, the underwear, everything, sleeping, everything. We threw it out of the back. Cordura burns. That's how many hundreds of times I've heard people, yeah, my bag burned up in the back of the truck. And that mindset, got to save the equipment, throw everything out. So we threw everything out of the back of the pickup. We threw it out on the ground at the far back edge of the safety zone. And then we pulled the pickup right in front of the dozer blade. So the ass of the dozer was, the rear of the dozer, excuse me, was that pointing to the south, if you will. And we pulled them together like this, and we kind of flitted around, and then we started getting buffers of fire coming in on us. Little stuff. Animals running through the safety zones. We had a couple bears run through. We had deer run through. We had some raccoons. Saw a skunk run through. They're all coming out of that riparian, out of that exclusion zone in that Namodi Creek, and it was getting closer. It was getting closer. I was getting a little nervous. I know everybody was too. It was getting hot. The winds were howling. They were coming in on us. This fire was eating. It was close enough to know we weren't feeling the indrafts anymore from it. We were just feeling the erratic fire winds off of it. Living in a convected column, if you will. We were within the winds of a convected column. And old division got on the radar and says, well, I'm going to order up a Type 3 helicopter to fly in and land you, because I think you could land them there. And I told him, no, you're not bringing a Type 3 in here, because now we're going to have an aircraft mishap. I mean, our thoughts were, you got the smoke, I've second guessed myself about bringing in a helicopter. And again, the smoke, the fire conditions, where do I put the equipment? If I'd have pulled the equipment to get out of the way to get that Type 3 helicopter to land on an uneven surface, I don't know if I could have brought a Type 3 in there in those conditions. We all kind of pulled into the front of the dozer. All three of us did. We pulled all our gear out. I had pulled my IA pack out, thrown it down. We'd taken a case of water, put it right there.